Amanda, better known as the Irish Angel from Dublin, Ireland. And Amanda, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, most of you who already are in my network know who I am. I am the CEO and founder of Irish Angel Incorporated, which is a non-profit for law enforcement, first responders and the military who suffer with PTSD and any mentally health related illnesses or addictions. So we want to be able to send those in need whose insurance don't cover things, basically, to go and get the help they need. So we're very much focused on their mental well-being and their lifestyle, and not just when they're in the force, but when they leave the force, which is what brings us here today.
Exactly, yeah. So Amanda and I got to know each other through social media, and we had common interests, obviously, in law enforcement and helping law enforcement. And even though our company, Extra Duty Solutions, we administer extra duty programs for law enforcement agencies, we don't have anything to do with the topic Amanda and I are going to be talking about today. It became apparent when Amanda and I had conversations that we both recognized a need in the law enforcement world that we recognized from different viewpoints or different angles. And we wanted to have, we thought we needed to have a conversation, get it out there, and see what other people thought about it too, because we feel like this needs some focused attention, and there's a need for doing something a little bit better. So Amanda, why don't you talk a little bit about what we're talking about today?
Yeah, so we're basically talking about, as you and I had a conversation previously about law enforcement who is in retirement. There is an awful lot of deaths through suicide when somebody retires and they don't go documented. And that concerns me because we always focus on those in service right now, which is, it's our cause, it's what we're about. However, we cannot forget those who have left the force. And you know, it's a very daunting time for them. And when I obviously heard you I actually heard you first on a podcast. And I loved the fact that, yes, you are a for-profit business. However, you're for-profit with a heart. You understand the people, you understand what their needs was. And I think that's what attracted me to you. So when we got to talking about what you do, it then rolled into the conversation of how can we help, you know, those in need who are going to be leaving law enforcement, because it is such a daunting task. And from talking to many officers who have retired or who are about to retire, it's quite frightening for some, you know, and they don't really want to talk about it as such to their colleagues or whatever. To them, you know, it's, oh great, I'm going to retire, I'm going to go fishing, I'm going to do, you know, all the things you're meant to do when you retire. But for them, once that period of time is over, it then lulls into the situation where they then have too much time to think, and it then runs into depression, and then sometimes alcoholism, sometimes prescription meds, or, you know, it just out and out depression. So they think, from talking to a lot of law enforcement people who have retired, a lot of them, the consensus across the field is that they feel that they have no purpose anymore. That once they leave the force, as much as you're once blue, always blue, you then are not having a purpose to get up in the morning, put on your uniform, go to work, go out to the public and have a place in your community. You're just another person. And that's such a difficult thing for them, you know, and they feel a sense of hopelessness. And they say, you know, I know nothing but law enforcement, so I don't have any skills. And for me, that's not right. You learn so much when you become a police officer. You know, there's like, you have admin, you have problem solving, you have security, you have all different training aspects that you've been taught along the years that you can pass on to knowledge to everybody else.
And I think that for an officer who's about to retire, to have a network of officers who already retired to talk to could very much alleviate one of the problems that you brought up earlier in this conversation, which is this problem of, well, I've been a police officer my whole life. I don't have any other skills. And that's so untrue. I mean, when you think about what do you do if you're a law enforcement, not just police officer, but any form of law enforcement, right? You're negotiating with people all day long. You're being lied to all day long, so you have to decipher that, right? You're strategizing and how to de-escalate tense situations, right? You're thinking through how to get through potentially physical altercations in a way that neither side gets hurt. You're doing a lot of things that are valuable skills in a lot of different industries. So I think a lot of times law enforcement tends to look at their skill at too high a level. Well, my skill is law enforcement, but you really need to look at these micro skills that you're picking up throughout the 30 years that you've been in law enforcement, and these are the same skills that you know, a lot of other people in a lot of other jobs pick up and are considered valuable. Think about an HR director, human resources director, right? Well, they have to interview people. They have to negotiate with people. They have to decipher when they're being lied to, right? They have to do background checks on people. These are the same things that the many officers are doing, but they don't look at it like that. And they need to realize that the skills they have are plentiful and valuable. And I think that talking with officers that came before them who are already retired and seeing what they're doing would be very, very valuable.